Who are the coolest dudes on the planet?
United States veterans.
What's the coolest sport on the planet?
Pro wrestling.
And what would be the coolest podcast on the planet? That would be this one.
U.S. military vets talking pro wrestling.
This is the No Shave Man Cave. Two badass disabled vets sharing their love of pro wrestling, giving you their perspective as fans, talking about current events and matches, history of titles, and who knows what else. Let's do it.
Welcome to the No Shave Men Cave. Now your hosts, Ellie Jair and Jay Tilley.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the No Shave Man Cave. Tonight's special edition is our 22 Never Forgotten edition. We are joined by Georgia's famous son, the Peach Pit's finest, with his finishing move, the Peach Pit, the pitter of peaches, J to the Y to the C. Just, he goes with it. Myself, Ellie Jair,
Jay Tilley.
and you are here in the No Shave Man Cave, and we are joined by Jeremy, and he has got some amazing stories here on this Never Forget 22nd edition of February, and on behalf of all veterans, and I am super humbled to have you here today. Thank you, and to JT for laying this down. Super excited.
I very much appreciate you guys having me on. Lots of respect to our vets, to active duty, to everyone around the world serving our country right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is cool. It's the first one we've put together. It's a thing that Jared and I, we did a state of the podcast yesterday and dropped that out. I think it went live sometime in the afternoon.
Yeah,
But one of the things we wanted to do going forward is making sure we focus on our mental health in general. Doesn't always obviously have to be in regards to military. However, he and I both being military, the 22nd works because of the unfortunate statistic about the 22 suicides.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Yeah. But we were putting it together, and I said, you know what? I got a buddy, Jair. He does this for a living. He's got some of his own stories with mental illness that he deals with. Jared, the other Ellie Jair. I'll just do it that way. Ellie Jair and I both have our own issues that we've dealt with in the past. We're not. Anybody that listens to us knows we don't script anything. The one time we did, it sounded like an awful podcast, and it wasn't us. We sounded like robots. Yeah. And then we're trying to stick to a time limit and all that stuff. Yeah. We didn't like it, so we're just going to kind of go with it, and give you guys some information, give you guys kind of some of the struggles maybe we went through. So this might be a deep one. If you like our lightheartedness, we're going to try this, keep this light. We try to joke around and have fun, but there is going to be some serious conversations in it. From thoughts of suicide to attempts to anger management to depression to PTSD. We've the three of us have probably run the gambit on all of it. So just want to put that out there for everybody. Could be trigger warning. Don't listen to this episode. Totally respect that. Listen to some of the fun wrestling ones. Just know the 22nd every month we're going to drop one like this just to get the awareness out there and to kind of open those communication lines to anybody that might need it. Again, I'm going to hit us right off at the beginning with, if you're struggling, please reach out to somebody and get help. If you even want to tweet us, direct message us, and we can point you in the right direction. No Shave Man Cave on Twitter. Email us, whatever the case is. And then as we go through the show, Jeremy's got some resources he'll talk about specifically with some of the things he does and how he can help us get the word out and help people throughout. So that's my soapbox. I just wanted to get that out there, kind of give everybody that warning going into it that this isn't going to be our normal fun.
Yeah, heck yeah. We normally have some solid banter. We go back and forth. We support, defend our position on wrestling, whether we liked it or we didn't like it.
Raw
and
sucks.
Then, we acknowledge the other, our other cave member. Hey, you sold me on that. Hey, you just got yourself, 2.5 beards for that one. So that's our rating system. And, us coming into this, hey, right off the bat, 5 beards, Jeremy's beard, legit. I wish I could rock the no mustache, but I have I have some issues with my lip. It's not cleft or anything. It's just not as strong as I would like it to be. But that's me, But super excited to have you here. And like what Jay Tilley was saying, we all deal with our struggles, and I'm fortunate to live with Mrs. Ellie Jair, and Tiff is a recently received her license in to be able to practice and provide counseling services. And when moments arise, today, I work for a very large corporation that pretty much sells everything from A to Z. And today was top 5 hardest days at Amazon. Just some of the struggles that we deal with, the personalities, and it's more than just a promise that we're trying to get out to the customer. It's the behind the scenes stuff and everything that has to occur. And us walking into it, just like a veteran or an active duty service member, they slap the uniform on, they make sure their chevrons are right, and we go into hook and jab. And it's just difficult if you're at the tip of the spear, or you're at home base. We deal with it accordingly. And super super humbled to be here, with you, Jeremy, and with our nearly 2,000 downloads since we started this journey barely a month ago. And I'm super excited to hear about your story and how you got here today with us, and what you can deliver to our fam, as we refer to them here at the cave.
Well, like I said, I very much appreciate you guys having me on, especially as a lapsed wrestling fan, which I'm sure we'll touch on that more later. As for the beard, don't sell the no mustache thing so much. I only don't have a mustache because it tickles my nose. it's it's a stupid reason. I have allergies. My nose is always itchy as it is. I could not stand having a mustache, but I wanted a beard, so this was the solution.
There it is, man. That's your finishing move, the tickler.
The tickler, that doesn't sound right.
He's the lip tickler.
Oh, no, I don't think so. So I don't want to get too heavy in statistics because I'm not a big statistics guy, but I think it's something like 1 in 4 people or 1 in 5 people have a mental illness. But there's something else I want to point out. 4 in 4 people have mental health. We all have mental health. We all deal with stress. We all deal with loss. We all deal with the ups and downs of life. So even if you're not a person who's dealt with the harder battles of mental illness and gone through a whole recovery journey and all of that, I think there's still something to be gained out of being aware and maybe learn a little something about how to manage your mental health better so you don't end up in a crisis situation down the road. And also, it's worth noting that I almost guarantee you that someone in your inner circle, your family, your friends, has gone through a mental health battle, whether a mental illness battle that you don't even know about. And no knowledge is how you can really be there for them when they need you. So I want to throw my own little disclaimers out there real quick. Obviously, again, if you are triggered, please reach out. There is just going to be a few brutal truths here. And absolutely reach out to the guys. I am not really big on social media. I use Facebook a little bit, and I do use TikTok, but I don't post anything. So I don't really have a social media presence. But I'm going to leave some resources for everyone for ways that you can get help online as well as through phone or text. So I'll just jump in and tell you my story. My story, I kind of feel like it goes back my whole life. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. My official diagnosis of bipolar disorder, was about 6 years ago now. It was a result of a misdiagnosis of depression, which that's something to understand too. Mental health is not a perfect field, perfect science. Um, everything is trial and error. Everything is trial and error. Your medications, your therapy, your coping skills, it's all trial and error. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works now, and then a week from now it won't. So a lot of people have been misdiagnosed. It's not an admonishment on the field. These professionals have worked very hard to get where they're at, like your wife. Um, congratulations to her. That's a lot of hard work to get there.
Yeah.
Um, just the education alone is hard, but then getting through the licensing process
Oh, my
is
goodness.
a nightmare. I am not there. I'm not anywhere close to there. I don't even have a college degree. So let me throw that out there. Oh, I do need to put that disclaimer out there. I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I work, my technical title is a certified peer specialist. I use my story to share my lived experience to help give somebody something to aspire towards. And then I advocate on behalf of those who need my help, who need a second voice to stand up for them.
That is
So thank you. The disclaimer on that is that I do not diagnose. I cannot offer you diagnosis. I cannot offer you clinical advice. I cannot recommend medications or any of that stuff.
There goes the scripts I was hoping for. Shit.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
But I can tell you what I've been through, and if it offers you, and hopefully it'll give you some guidance. And if you need support, I'm here. But without going through my whole childhood history and turning this into a 2-hour episode, we'll just go to June 11th, 2011. I had been struggling with depression for most of my life. I did not realize I was also dealing with mania. I didn't understand what that was, what that meant, had no clue. I've been going through a real rough patch with my marriage, having a real rough time with my kids. A lot of stuff had been culminating in my head, and I didn't let it out. I didn't talk to anyone about it, didn't talk to Jay about it, didn't talk to anyone. I just kept it inside. And then I got into a huge fight with my wife at the time, and it ended with her threatening to leave me. She packed the kids in the car, and I went and grabbed a bottle of pills and swallowed it. So, and it's obviously been many years, going on 12 years since that happened. Hindsight, looking back, I planned it. I don't even think Jay knows that.
Yeah, we kind of had our suspicions, but yeah.
I didn't plan the moment, but I had researched what pills I could take. I had looked at what we had in the house and what pills I could swallow that would just put me to sleep.
That part I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the moment came and I did it, thankfully I didn't wait till she left. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here. She did call 911. Ambulance came. They took me to the ER. I had to take liquid charcoal. It was disgusting. Without getting too graphic, it stays with you for several days.
I bet.
Just saying.
And I spent 24 hours in the ER while they tried to find a place to put me. Sent me out to Georgia Regional Hospital. Just not Georgia Regional Hospital anymore, but anyways. Spent 24 hours in suicide watch. One of some of the most terrifying moments of my life, because they don't differentiate between severity there. So here I am, scared, unsure what my future holds, and here's somebody who's a paranoid schizophrenic who thinks the aliens are listening to his brain and could go violent in any moment, which I know a lot more about paranoid schizophrenics than I did back then, but I knew nothing back then. And some of these guys were scaring the crap out of me. So I spent the entire night with a sheet over my head, just trying to sleep. But you could look like you're going to ask something, Jay.
Yeah, were you in like a common room, or did you have your own room?
Common room.
I've never heard this part of it. Oh, really? So it was you and a bunch of other people.
It was a big open area. They had 2 rooms, but it was all open with a bunch of people there watching you. You had to take your belt off because you hang yourself with it, or you hurt yourself with the metal.
Wow.
Of course, empty your pockets. No cell phone. No nothing. No way to contact your loved ones. And you just stay there for 24 hours. They don't give you a bed. There's these recliners you can lay back in, and they give you a sheet, no blanket.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I didn't realize it was that that.
So spent 24 hours there. That was not fun, but then I got to go home. Did some outpatient therapy and medications and balance stuff and depression. They said I had depression. Here's your meds. And after a while, I stopped the therapy and said, I'm fine. And I took the meds. And that was it. I was good, but I wasn't. Um, there are some dark sides of mental illness that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Um, One is especially depression, and though I have bipolar disorder, just a little bit of info on that. It means I have both depression and I also have manic episodes. Um, uh, some people will hear the description of manic episodes. You have lots of energy and you feel like you could keep going without sleep for days and days and think, wow, that'd be great. I wish I could do that. No, you don't. It's hell. And the aftermath is hell. Uh, but a lot of my symptoms are very depression heavy with bits and pieces of mania thrown in just for fun. Um, so there's some dark stuff to depression that anybody who's been through it will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
There are dark moments where I thought about hurting myself again. There's voices in my head, not voices, not schizophrenia voices. Let's clarify
Aliens
that
aren't
because
coming
that's
for you.
those are two different things. I've worked with people who have those voices. I'm talking about my own voice in my head telling me that I'm worthless, telling me that I'll never accomplish anything in life, telling me that I'm a failure, telling me I'm a bad father, I'm a bad husband, I'm a bad person, I'm a bad friend, I'm a bad son. Um, and just hearing that constantly, 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 and then having the mania thrown in where I'm super impulsive and reckless, and it meant job after job after job, 6 months here, 9 months there, maybe a year if I'm lucky. Um, Took my family through the ringer financially, um, traumatized my kids. Um, and though I don't have much fondness for her these days, my ex-wife, uh, my wife at the time, who I did love at the time, um, I caused her a lot of trauma too, and I don't deny any of that, and I take responsibility for that. Um,
I think I think that's a big step. Like I'm no mental health expert by any means, but knowing you for what 30 something years now, uh, just hearing you say that is a big step that taking responsibility of it. So just wanted to give that a shout out. Like that's huge. That's something a lot of people struggle with. So
yeah,
and that's just a testament to your mental fortitude to kind of work through those thoughts in your head and know that and understand what you're going through. So I just shout out to that. That's awesome.
thank
Yeah,
you.
that's some huge acknowledgement where where you want to end up is the finish line, promised land, whatever, and whether you fall short actually or you fall short, mentally or emotionally. Um, huge kudos to you to own that, and you're a stronger man than a lot of us, where a lot of us walk around, oh, we're the victim, this shouldn't happen to me, I can't believe this is what happened to me and I was done dirty. So good. I'm for whatever it's worth, I know we've known each other a couple of minutes here, but I'm super proud of you and being able to say it here, live and in front of everyone. So thank you very much. That helps me.
Thank you. What I usually tell people um, when I'm telling people about what the things I did, the things that I have to own, there's a difference between offering an explanation and an excuse.
So,
I
100%.
explain that my mental illness played a factor in the things that I did, in the things that I said. Um, but I don't use them as an excuse. There's still things that I did. There's still things that I said. I damaged countless relationships, and um, I own that. And I think that's a big part of recovery, is taking ownership of the things you did when you were sick, acknowledging that you were sick, but not using it as an excuse. You still did those things, and you still have to make reparations on those things that you did. And mental health, and I'm sure your wife can tell that to you, Jared, but mental health and substance use kind of go hand in hand. And the two combined, which thankfully I didn't have that, can cause a lot of damage and ruin lives, not just your own. But it's the same thing. And that's what I tell my clients, because I don't have that experience, but that's what I tell them, is that you still have to make those reparations, but it's okay to say, I was sick. Don't use it as an excuse, but it's okay to say that. There's nothing wrong with saying I was that, as long as you still own what you did. When you put that hole through that wall, you did that. And you scared your wife and you scared your kids. You did that. You own that.
Yep.
You were sick. You use that as a stepping ground to get better, so you don't do it again. And that's and I understand, having lived it, how hard it is to get from in the middle of that to a point where you can accept what you did, own what you did, and make reparations on what you did. It's a long journey. It's a hard work, and it never stops. Not to sound too much like a motivational poster, but recovery is a journey, not a destination.
And I think one of the big things that you hit on is the ownership of it. But I think a lot of people try to do it by themselves. And I think having that person to reach out to for help is big. Because I went through that. My first marriage, I punched a hole through a wall. I had anger management issues. I never hit my ex-wife, never raised a hand to her, never any of that. But definitely had that anger issues and would take it out on inanimate objects in the building. And I was supremely jealous all the time. And I had a lot of issues. And I went to some, counselors and some friends and talked things through. And you would probably be able to test this better than I can, Jeremy, but I'm a different person than I was when I was with Kelly. I'm so much more chill and relaxed.
God, yeah.
I mean, compared to where I was and the way I treated people to now, night and day. And it's one of those things I own up to. Some people accept those changes and understand that it was, like you said, an illness. Some people don't. I have some friendships that never got mended, and the way people treat me a little differently in some, but that's on them now because I've owned up to it. I've apologized. I've done everything I can on my side for some of the ways, I even going back into high school, some of the things I did to people and treated people. There are some high school friends that have forgiven me, and it's water under the bridge. We talk, we communicate like we do now. But on the flip side, there are those that never talk to me. There are things I've done to you in the past, I'm sure, that probably pissed you off. There are things you did to me that I'm sure, hell, we used to joke every summer one of us was pissed at the other. Not chasing around with a sledgehammer. That only happened once, but I mean,
wasn't either of us. Let's make that clear.
It was not.
It was not either of us.
We did sledgehammer amongst friends, other than like a no DQ match,
Yeah, no lie. We had a buddy of ours chasing another buddy with a sledgehammer, trying to hit him.
It was a very complicated situation.
It was
with a very volatile person who was also having his own journey and difficulties.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but the girl involved, there was a girl.
Always.
Anytime a friendship breaks down between two guys, it's always a girl.
Yeah.
Always a girl.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that girl was very treacherous, and she did some really shady shit that, excuse the language, that pushed that situation.
Yeah. The old white snake girl on the hood of the car. God.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny. That's pretty accurate.
Yep.
There was a hood of the car involved in this too.
A lot of mine issues, I'm very, I don't want to say compulsive, but when I'm really into something, I'm really into it. And when sort of my upbringing, seeing how everything kind of unfolded, knowing that mental health, the acknowledgement piece of it sort of lacked in my family, and watching some of what my sister went through until she unfortunately took her life, there was a lot that went into it. And the strength and the relationship that I have with my brother Mike, the love and the fondness that I have with my sister Shannon, and the bond I have with Tiffany and the boys really have helped me get grounded. And since I've retired and lost that sort of affiliation with the military, my current organization, and Jay Tilley and some of the guys that I work with have given me that brotherhood and those sort of shoulders to lean on slash cry on. And whether I do it actually or I'm able to sort of do it without the shed of tears. It's I have great fondness for the people that are in my life right now, and the people that aren't in my life. Um, Sort of, it's by choice, whether it's theirs or mine.
Yep.
And sort of what Jay Tilley was saying, how he's a different person now than compared to what he was before. Um, I feel like just over the last couple of months, I'm a much different person, and acknowledging the work that I needed to do has really helped me. And I sort of it sort of hit me today, like I feel a lot different today, and some of the environmental effects that were going on around me affected me a little bit more than they normally would, because I would just be like, okay, yeah, whatever, dude, you do you, and I'm gonna go home and
Paint rocks.
yeah. So, but yeah, this is I'm yeah, this is I'm super super. I don't want to say proud of us what we're doing, because this is still very scary for me. But little by little, I really appreciate Jeremy joining us. Jay Tilley, we talked about this in nauseum, but to actually do this today, um, I feel a lot better than we did 22 minutes ago, and I'm stoked that we're here today, and I can't wait for next month and the following month, and where we're going to build on it. So this is really cool. Thank you, Jeremy, for sharing, and I
You're
can't wait.
welcome.
Yeah.
I didn't finish my story, but you know what? If we're doing this next month, we can worry about that then. I want to make sure we have time to talk a little bit about resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute number one resource. This is a great new thing. It's very new. I don't even know I don't have the date here on what I'm looking at, but I want to say they passed it through legislation in 2020 or 2021, and then it was mandated last year that they had until this summer or this some point like now, for every state to adopt it. But there is now a 3-digit code. You just like you call for medical emergencies and what have you, but instead of 911, it's 988. On a federal level, it takes the place of the National Suicide Hotline.
Mm.
On the local level, kind of depends on your state. Here in Georgia, if you dial 988, it goes to a program called GCAL, Georgia Crisis and Access Line. It is primarily suicide prevention, but it can be any kind of mental health crisis. Some people think of hurting others more than themselves, and
Mm.
obviously you want to nip that in the bud. You want to get help. You can call 988 for that. You can even call 988 if you're just in a bad place. You know, uh, my girlfriend, wife, whatever, boyfriend just left me, and I'm not thinking about hurting myself, but I've never been lower in my life. I don't know what to do with myself. Call 988. Better to call and then get additional resources than to not call, go into crisis, and have something severe happen.
Amen. Gee. Whew.
So that is like the number one resource. I believe you can text it as well. If not, you can still send texts to, I think it's 741-741. It's the crisis text line that the National Suicide Hotline used. And that's still available. I also wanted to touch on, since this is obviously you guys are both vets. I'm sure many of your listeners are vets. The Wounded Warrior Project. How to say this without being too negative? We'll just say the VA isn't always the best when it comes to mental health.
You think?
That's that's as nice as I can put it. I've worked with a lot of vets, both as coworkers and as clients, and I've seen some stuff. So the Wounded Warrior Project is a great example of vets helping vets. It is a great project. I don't know if they have their own hotline, but they do have a website, woundedwarriorproject.org, and you can access tons of different resources to help you out. They help with mental health, physical health, anything the veteran might need in order to lean on each other. It really is a great project. Um, Obviously, they focus a lot on PTSD, but they help with just about anything you can think about when it comes to mental health and the struggles that veterans deal with reintegrating into civilian life.
And that's a big one. That's a lot harder than people think. It
Yeah.
really is. Like, people just think we're done and we come out. It's a lot. It's a lot harder than people think. Even people in my career field where I wasn't necessarily in the shit as some people I know that I can't imagine some of the things they've had to reintegrate with, but just that structure and everything. It's tough. So
Yeah,
that's a big part of it.
Yeah, the assimilation back in. Um, I'm pushing 3 years now. The first 2 years, I was literally groping in the dark.
Yeah.
And July of 2022 is when the 988 in Florida became a thing. So that was, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And starting in January is when I started my personal mental health recovery journey. And then February, I guess technically the 3rd, I started my sobriety, trying to find a clearer head. And every day is something new. Like, like I noticed a different smell than I normally smell today, or I noticed a different taste than I
That was
normally.
me. Sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
The taste of the
Nifivision.
smell.
Yeah.
Both.
So, but it's
It was powerful. You could taste
yeah.
it.
Boom. So there's a lot going on, and with like you said, the VA is not always the sterling example for all mental health establishments to emulate. I'm fortunate to not have had the the the, sh- the difficult time getting what I feel is the appropriate level of care, and it may be because Tiffany also. Um, Kind of fills some of the gaps that the providers aren't affording. So that's a solid point that when anyone goes into it, just understand it's not an end all be all. And just like with any other science, it's ever developing. Today, and Jeremy was strong with the comment, today it worked, tomorrow it might not. And you just got to have an open dialogue with your provider and with yourself too, to where you're going and what you're feeling and what you're going through. So
Yeah, that honesty with yourself is key.
Yeah.
Because I'm going through my own struggles now too. I mean, Jared and I kind of we've communicated with my buddy over that shoulder.
Yeah.
Losing him, it affected me way more than I thought, and every day is kind of a struggle dealing with that. So, yeah, being honest with yourself and knowing, okay, that this is tougher than I thought is key to all this.
Yeah.
So,
One last thing I want to touch on. To our knowledge, no one who was asked whether or not they're suicidal committed suicide because they were asked.
yep.
That's an important fact. You will not motivate somebody to kill themselves by asking them if they want to kill themselves. So if you suspect that someone you know is going down that road, ask. Don't be afraid. Ask. Because a lot of times they'll tell you.
Yep.
They are scared to tell anyone because they don't think they'll understand. So if you offer them an understanding ear with no judgment, no consequences, just support, they may reach out to you and they may ask for the help that they need. Better to ask than to not ask and face the consequence.
100%. I could go off on another story on that, but maybe we'll save it for next month. But I asked the question and saved somebody's life before. So 100%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. So, yeah, guys, we said this would probably be a heavy one. We were going to try to keep it to about 20 something minutes. We're hitting 36. We could keep going, I'm sure, all night long and make this a 3-hour podcast. I like the idea of this being a recurring monthly thing. And who knows if the feedback's really strong and people want to hear more and want to see this more, we could even do it, every once a week or every couple weeks and make it a bigger part of our show if that's what we need to do. But this was heavy. Your story is awesome, Jeremy. I mean, the fact that you've come out the other end of it, I know it's an everyday struggle still. It is for all of us, but the fact that you recognize that and are growing with it is fantastic. And same with you, Jared, like the fact that you took January, realized you needed that help and are getting it is great. So just proud of you both. Good stuff, man. And to anybody out there, I'm proud of you for reaching for help, no matter who you are. So yeah, good stuff.
We have every month is a national month, and I try and acknowledge every day with the little email or text or however you message within your organization, acknowledge what national day it is. We could take every day as National Health Day, every month as National Health Month, and know that you're not alone. There's hotlines, there's resources, there's hands out, there's shoulders, and here in the cave, we're alive and listening and ready to support our fam, as we refer to them, our fellow veterans, our lovers of wrestling, and all the other stuff that we talk about. And we are honored today to have, as we'll refer to him as JC, the other man in the booth, and finishing move, the tickler.
Oh no!
And,
no,
yeah.
I don't want that. We're not
I
going.
think that's gonna be his nickname now. It'll be the Tickler whenever he's on.
Oh no!
I'm gonna change his name. Where it's just where his invite name is gonna be the Tickler from now on. The lip tickler,
sir.
we'll call him.
Oh
The
no!
tickler, he's setting them up. So, without further ado,
Wait, before you do it, I am gonna let everybody know that all the resources we talked about, and we'll put the links and everything in the description for this video. I'm gonna pin them to our Twitter account, so we'll have those out there. We'll leave them. When we put this on YouTube, it'll be there. All your audio podcasts, I'll have it in the description. So you'll have all this, the resources, the 988 number, anything you need. We'll go ahead and put that. Now you do your thing.
absolutely. And as we always do, if our fellow fam members of the cave want to share their stories, you are always welcome to do. Without further ado, on behalf of JC the Tickler, I'm Ellie Jair.
Jay Tilly.
Thank you for joining us here at the No Shave Man Cave. On behalf of everyone, just know that everybody's looking out for you on this 22nd day of February in the year of our Lord 2023. Be safe, be well, look out for one another, and I'll see you on the floor.
You've been listening to the No Shave Man Cave.
If it's pro wrestling, we're talking about it. Unless we see something shiny and wander off into the woods. If you hang around long enough, we'll eventually come back. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Fire off your comments and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at No Shave Men Cave. Y'all be cool, and we'll see you next time on the No Shave Men Cave.